All right, and we are live. Welcome everyone to episode 8 of the World Map podcast, coming at you live from the Washington D.C. metro area. I'm Josh, and joining me from New York City as well is the one, the only, the co-host with the most, who's always here to talk about the latest in gaming and other such nerdery with us. Without further ado, Clark.
That's me.
Hey man, how's it going? How's it been going this past week?
Oh, it's been going pretty good. Just doing a lot of traveling again to the Pennsylvania area, like I do every now and then. This time I made sure all my devices were charged, so not as much of a problem as last time. How have you been doing, Mr. Star Wars T-shirt?
Man, doing good. Yeah. So people, if there was anyone in the room with me, they would see my AT-AT t-shirt. But for those watching live, they get to see my Tata t-shirt. Actually, it appears I'm reversed in the camera here.
It's odd. That might just actually be your view, because I actually see AT-AT written down. So.
Oh, nice. I guess Google just like automatically reverses it out to the feed. So awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan of stuff with AT-ATs on it. So including this here t-shirt. Yeah, just picked this up. So anything Star Wars, man, I'm gonna get that. So I don't know. Do you say
doll that?
Anything original Star Wars? Although I am like very much itching to watch Star Wars again, and like there's this little OCD part of me that won't let me do it without starting at episode 1, even though I know I'm gonna hate it again. But I think I am gonna watch episode 1 soon and start like another run through. But
I have a problem with that.
There are redeemable qualities of episode 1 though. You got Qui-Gon, who was awesome. The Liam Neesons. You got Darth Maul, who was awesome. I mean,
the lightsaber battles in that versus in the original trilogy, I must say, far better. It's like if you look at the original trilogy, when Darth Vader is having the lightsaber battle with Obi-Wan, it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's just a lot of side to side. Yeah.
Like, I can imagine them saying, remember when we were flipping upside down and all around on moving platforms over lava? We've gotten so old.
Yeah, there's definitely a good layer of choreography in the prequels that's fun to watch. And, like, I think actually the guy who played Darth Maul is the same stunt guy who played Toad in the Brotherhood of Evil in, like, the first X-Men movie. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's true. My Star Wars trivia like started getting a little rusty the past couple of years, and then now that episode 7's coming out, I'm just like diving back in head first.
That's not the reason I have an issue with watching episode 1 first, actually. I think the original trilogy needs to be watched first because, especially if you're a new viewer of Star Wars, there's something that happens in the original trilogy that was very surprising. I won't spoil it for the two of you who have never seen it.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Unless you want me to. If you want, I can be that guy. But if you watch the original trilogy first, that is not a surprise. It does not have the same wow factor.
Yeah, I could see that. Certainly. So do you say AT-AT or do you say AT-AT, by the way?
I say AT-AT. I like, stretching things out so that they take longer.
Do they actually say either one in the films? I think they say Imperial Walkers, but I don't think they actually say AT-AT or AT-AT. I don't know. I definitely say AT-ST and not ATSTA, though. So I don't know. AT-AT it's kind of fun to say AT-AT.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of saying each thing individually. Just like I don't say 2015, I say 2015. Actually, someone had an argument with me. They're like, yeah, but you said 1995. And I was like, you know what? From now on, I'm going to say the year 1995 just to be consistent.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things I like about you. Very... You're a very principled young man.
Yeah, as long as it involves me being contrary, indeed.
Yeah, so I guess we should. This is a gaming podcast for the most part.
Right.
Although we were talking about Star Wars, so I think the listeners will forgive us. Before we get too far down the road, I do want to thank everybody who's been downloading the podcast and Our Facebook page passed 100 likes this week, and Twitter's growing as well, and we're seeing like more and more subscribers. So thanks to everybody who's been making the show successful, and we would really appreciate it if you could get on iTunes and take 3 seconds to give us a 5-star review as well. But just huge thanks to everybody out there who's been listening to the show. Pretty awesome to see how we've grown in such a short amount of time. Although I think folks were, it was a little bit of serendipity last week when we talked about all of our post E3 stuff, and we talked about Final Fantasy VII so much, and it was episode 7. I think it was meant to be, man. But
so should we be talking about Final Fantasy VIII today?
We could, although I haven't
played it in a
really long time. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so for anybody who's just tuning in for the first time, the show is mostly about gaming, but also about what we've been watching in terms of movies and TV, and reading in terms of books, comic books, listening to in terms of audiobooks and podcasts. Really just anything technology, nerd-related, fun, entertainment, media stuff. We're on top of all of it. Sometimes we give you really bad financial and gardening tips as well that we actually know nothing about, but hey, we're here for you. So without anything else or further delay, let's go ahead and jump right into what we've been playing this week. And I've actually, a game that I played a little while ago, and I've kind of been holding off on talking about it for the show, we've been so like jam-packed with playing so many great new games and talking about them. And then we had, our big E3 predictions and then post E3 show. Everybody should definitely, those were great episodes. Go back and listen to them if you haven't heard them. But Counter Spy is a game, it was free for PS Plus members a while back. And it's a game I've been wanting to talk about on the show for a little while, because even though it's not the most aesthetically pleasing game, and certainly it's got like some weird things going on with the art style and whatnot, it's got a unique art style, definitely. It's just not graphically going to blow you away. But that was a relatively fun game for me. Have you played Counter Spy before there, Clark?
No, I have not. I was actually waiting for you to talk about it so I can make an informed decision.
Well, I will help you make that informed decision, good sir. I think just generally, yes, you should play Counter Spy. Maybe you have it already like downloaded in your backlog since it was a PS Plus game at one point. So this backlog is it's a unique game because it's a stealth game, but it's a side scroller. And that's where like it kind of comes like into its unique play. So it's like one of those 2.5D games. So think like the Batman game that they made for 3DS and Vita recently. That was Arkham Origins Blackgate, I think. Think about stuff like Shadow Complex, although this is in no way a Metroidvania game. But that 2.5D art style where you're side-scrolling, but sometimes when you take cover or do certain mechanics in the game, that you do get that kind of tilted view that goes a little more 3D on you, a little more over the shoulder. But Counter Spy is a stealth game where the levels are relatively short from left to right. It'll probably take you, I'm going to say, anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes to get through each stage. And you're essentially running through an enemy base to get to the very end where there's a computer console, and you want to run up to that computer console and kind of like hack it or blow it up or whatever so that you destroy the enemy's nuclear weapon plant. So there's not a lot of story in the game per se, but the scenario is essentially like Cold War era. It's like kind of an alternate Cold War reality, and you're actually going back and forth between like the Russian and the American sides, shutting down their intel and shutting down their computers and their missile facilities so to avoid nuclear war. So basically this game posits that nuclear war during the Cold War was averted because there was this counter spy agency that was going back and forth sabotaging both sides. So you actually have to choose when you start a mission which side you want to quote unquote attack, and you want to look at like how close is each side to launching a bomb, and you want to kind of get that side like back down to not being too close. So it's this balancing act of choosing stages. Excuse me. And so as you're running through the stages, obviously there are all these enemies posted around. Some of them have rocket launchers, some have regular guns, whatever. So you're trying to like be stealthy and take cover, attack these guys, like sneak up behind them and attack them, or use like kind of blow darts and like make them fall asleep while they're not looking. You can use some louder, more traditional weaponry. But anytime you get spotted, you're going to raise the DEFCON level in that stage. When it gets all the way to a certain level, a timer starts, and you have until that timer goes down to get to the end of the level and sabotage that enemy computer. So at that point, it no longer becomes a stealth game. It becomes how fast can you run through the areas of that stage and get to the end without getting shot and dying. So there's a lot of like dodging and like shooting only the enemies you really have to get through, and just trying to stay alive long enough to get to the end and beat that timer. So that's kind of fun. There are officers in the game. So when you find enemy officers, you can actually point your gun at them and they'll surrender. And that actually lowers the DEFCON level. So if you've been spotted a couple times and you can actually get an officer to surrender to you and lower the DEFCON level, that gives you a little more leeway before the timer starts to get to the end of the stage. So there are a few weird little clunky AI things here and there. The game can be a little frustrating until you learn the mechanics, but it doesn't take all that long to pick up. It's pretty quick to beat it and like get through to the end game. You can kind of do that in like a weekend with this game. Lots of fun. Highly recommend Counter Spy. It's just one of those fun, like download and play it for a weekend games.
Awesome. I think you've convinced me.
Awesome. Great. Well, you should definitely try it. So how's your Super Smash Bros. Wii U level 9 challenge thing coming along? I know you've been working on that for a while.
I know. Well, I finally beat one of the 3 level 9 challenges, so I only have 2 left. I beat it with Marth in under 12 minutes at level 9, and that was probably the most frustrating thing I had ever done in a long time, because the problem with beating some of these on level 9 is that the enemies can seemingly anticipate just about every move you'll want to make, and with the fact that now there are 8-player battles, sometimes you'll be going against 7 computers, and it's almost like complete chance whether you will actually, survive that or not, especially when 5 of them are ganging up on you and one of them has a hammer. But yeah, finally got through and did that. Now I have 2 more level 9 challenges to beat, but what I found out is that let me say that when you play solo all the way through at level 9, at the end of the final boss, there's one extra thing that happens is after you beat final, I forget what its name is, but there's a part of the boss that turns into a level you have to go through and actually attack these little hearts in them in order to kill them. But there's all kinds of acid and enemy everywhere, and if you have 100% damage and hit the acid somewhere, you'll just die. But if you play it on co-op, that does not show up, which makes it a lot easier, actually. And so now I'm trying to find somebody to play co-op with so that I can just get those other 2 challenges a little bit more easily. I thought maybe I'd play with Nick, but he's usually here. But the thing is you can't really do this online, so that creates the issue I've been running into there. But hopefully by the time we meet again, those will be completed, and I will finally stop talking about the game, because I'm sure you all are getting a little bit annoyed at it.
Why you've been working on this Smash Bros. From 3DS on.
I know.
To complete all. So you've completed everything on 3DS, right? And then this is gonna like essentially platinum, if there was such a thing, on Wii U for the Wii U version for you, right?
Oh yes, indeed. I am going to take a picture of that screen that shows them all finished and post them on Miiverse so that all the some of the people that actually use Miiverse will see it, and I'll get like 2 or 3 comments saying yeah, and
and you'll have such a feeling of accomplishment.
I know.
I'm sure if only there was some way to show that off on online gaming services that Nintendo could think of. I mean, I can't imagine what that might be. If there was some sort of like achievement system or something, I don't know.
Actually, it's interesting you bring that up, because I am generally annoyed by achievement systems, because when I play a game, at some point I start thinking to complete the game, I need to get all these achievements or trophies, even if it's for something like walking behind 50 people and listening to 50 different conversations or something, which is something that seems kind of ridiculous. I actually, if enough people used Miiverse, I think it'd be I like that you can take screenshots and post it, and because there's actually an achievements or an accomplishments community where you can post things, and then it's almost like make up your own. The problem is not really anybody uses it, so it's if there were like a happy in between trophy system in that, I would like that actually. Or maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually I kind of hated achievements when they first came out, and like on 360, I didn't really like chase achievements too much until like later in the life of the console, and then like I started to find that they really extended the life like late in the console generation when there weren't as many games coming out. They extended the life of certain games for me, gave me more things to do that I might not have otherwise thought of to do in the game. They add some some layer of challenge. I agree with you that sometimes trophies and achievements are really dumb, and they're just like collect 50 of this, and then something that doesn't really help you in the game, something you would never really actually do. But I think that trophy design and also like naming achievements and trophies, like just the name of them, but then also the design around like what counts as a achievement. I think that trophy design has become actually like a sub facet of good game design, and some people do some developers do a great job of creating a trophy list that's actually adds fun to the game to go after it. It makes sense based on the game's progression. You don't necessarily have to go like really far out of your way to get a lot of the trophies. It's more about the challenge and about completion. I think, and then there are the developers who do really dumb stuff like make you have to have online trophies and things like that.
Oh, but those are the worst.
They're also the worst. I can understand them for like a Call of Duty or a Halo, but man, on a game that the servers are going to be up for maybe 5 years and people are going to be actively playing it online for maybe a month after release, like it's so frustrating when you try to go after those achievements and trophies. But yeah,
especially
so there's a delicate balance there. What was that?
Especially if it's a PS Plus game like a year later after those are shut down.
Well, so I encountered that problem with Pixel Junk Shooter. It took me forever to platinum that game because there were like 2 other people playing it online, even when it came back out on PS Plus. And then they finally
I think I see we're having some technical difficulties here.